Why do American newspapers endorse political candidates? Newspaper endorsements are specific declarations or statements of support for a political candidate. This candidate could be seeking the presidency or any number of local political offices. American newspapers have been endorsing US presidential candidates for a long time. The New York Times, for example, has been endorsing presidential candidates since 1860. So says Kathleen Kingsbury, a deputy editorial page editor at the Times. Endorsements appear in the editorial section, which gives opinions. The editorial section is separate from the news section. Newspapers come to their endorsement decisions in different ways. For example, the policies of the Tennessean newspaper in Nashville, Tennessee, are set by the paper's editorial board. For an endorsement, 5 board members must reach a consensus decision. Another paper, the Idaho Statesman, has a board that consists of an editor, publisher, and 5 unpaid community volunteers. Printing "We endorse" may reflect the opinion of the publisher alone, the opinion of the editor alone, a board of a few people, or a board of 16, as at the New York Times. To make its endorsement decisions, the Times has historically done off-the-record interviews with candidates. In other words, its editorial team met with candidates and asked them questions. The questions and answers were not released to the public. This year will be the first time that the New York Times publishes written transcripts and videos of the interviews. Kathleen Kingsbury wrote on Twitter that the idea is to make the endorsement process more open. Not everyone thinks this change is a good idea. Alex Tabarrok is an economist and a professor at George Mason University in Virginia. He notes that private, off-the-record discussions can be very valuable. Newspaper endorsements have been a subject of debate for some time. Before the 2012 elections, for example, 17 large US newspapers chose not to endorse a presidential candidate. The 2016 election seemed to settle the question about whether newspaper endorsements influence American public opinion in presidential elections. In October 2016, media company Politico noted, "As of this writing, Clinton has more than 200 endorsements from daily and weekly newspapers in the United States." By comparison, Politico reported, Trump had only 6 endorsements. Trump won the presidency the following month. Yet many US newspapers are expected to endorse presidential candidates this year. Their reasoning often goes beyond the idea of simply changing public opinion. Chicago Tribune editorial page editor John McCormick noted that swaying votes is only one reason for endorsing, and arguably not the most important. He added that endorsements explain to the world what the publication is, what it advocates, how it thinks, what principles it holds dear.